Onto a really important topic now with regards to both artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence specifically for accountants, and that's data privacy and confidentiality. So in this section, we're going to look at data privacy and confidentiality requirements that govern the use of AI in the accounting profession so that you can be aware of what to look out for to ensure you are not breaching any kind of privacy or confidentiality requirements. And this is really important. In fact, 31% of accountants actually rank data privacy as their top AI concerns. It's stopping lots of accountants, thousands, hundreds of thousands of accountants from using AI, data privacy and confidentiality, because mishandling client information is both unethical and potentially even illegal. So you can understand why people are wary of it. So let's recap some key data privacy principles. And these are from the EU General Data Protection Regulations, but they also tie in with the use of AI as well, because you don't just have to keep data private in traditional means and mediums, you have to keep it private in AI too. So the first one here, we've got lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. So any personal data you use with AI must be handled lawfully, so with a valid reason or consent, fairly and transparently. So for example, if you put clients' personal information into AI, you need to make sure you have that client's consent or a contractual need. And you should be transparent with it as well. You must tell them, you must let them know. You must also have a purposeful limitation. In a sense, when you use data for an intended and stated purpose only. So if a client comes to you and they give you financial information for, say, tax preparation, and you put it into AI, you should only be using it for that purpose, for tax preparation. You don't need to do a market analysis and marketing analysis for them. You must stick with the approved purpose. You must also minimize your use and your retention of that data. Only use the minimum necessary data that you need in the AI system. If they've got a whole ledger full of information that they've given you, don't just put the whole thing in, only put in the bits of information that you require. Because the less data you expose to the AI system, the less chance there is of that AI system leading to a data breach. So it's very, very important. And general security as well. You must protect against unauthorized access. If only qualified accountants are allowed to use this particular AI system to access client information, then it should be on a separate AI system that only qualified accountants have access to through passwords or multi-factor authentication. It can't be for the marketing team or for the administrative team to be able to access it. Some other important principles here, accuracy as well, ensuring that any information remains up to date, that you're not feeding out of date information, because this can lead to faulty outputs, and also storage limitation. You must ensure that when information is no longer needed, it is removed, it is deleted. You must set retention policies within your organization. Don't just upload a client's information onto GPT or Copilot or whatever, just let it sit there forever. It needs to be deleted, it needs to be removed. So very important that you follow all of those principles. Another key tip here is whenever you are implementing any kind of AI tool, you vet it thoroughly. You need to know what they are going to use any information you upload for and what rights they have over it. So always read their privacy policy to check how they handle your data, how they handle clients' data. Always verify where it's going to be stored and who can access it. And also check their training practices. Do they use any inputs you make to train their AI? And are there any ways you can stop this from happening? So for example, with GPT, they have the enterprise or the company package, which allows you to turn off the training. So any information you put in is only used there and then. It can be deleted, it can be removed. It is not used to train the large language model at all. And also review the liability terms. If the AI model causes the breach, do they have any kind of disclaimer on liability, or can they be blamed for it? Because if they have a disclaimer, that means anything that happens, even if it was their fault, you are the one that will get in trouble for it. And this is actually leading to the argument between public and enterprise AI services. So a free public AI service might be seen as something that, oh, it's free and easy to implement, but any data might be seen by that company. The information may be stored on external servers and used to train the model, so it's not secure. So this actually is a key takeaway for any accounting firm, that you must use an enterprise service. If you do not have a formal policy in place and that you've just got accountants using public models, the data is not secure. This is why you need an enterprise solution, because business subscriptions don't use data for training. Everything is kept on site, so the data is within your control, and therefore you can apply strict data controls and compliance features to it. And an example here, a real world case study, is with Samsung, where employees were talking on a public chat GPT with trade secrets. And as a result, that information, that data was shared and it was breached. And as a result, Samsung banned the use of public AI tools. You could only use the official tools that were in the actual Samsung enterprise system. So again, very, very important there. Now, you of course need to have safeguards, technical safeguards on your use of data as well. Basically, if you looked at a client's information and you looked at an email full of client data, you need to ask yourself, would you share this information with anyone else? Would you share it with a random person on the street? No? Well, if not, then you shouldn't be sharing it with AI either. You should ensure it is an encrypted, secure AI tool with antivirus, with data encryption, with security in place to make sure it's not training the model, etc. And you have access controls to restrict who can access it. You must also monitor activity and monitor usage of the AI tools as well. All of these are safeguards that can be used to prevent data misuse. And for an organization, you must ensure you have a clear AI use policy. That is to say, formal guidelines for staff. So any client anyone using personal identifiable information about a client cannot use external AI tools without managerial approval. That's a classic example of that. You must also train your staff effectively, ensuring them that they can use the AI tools, but they must use the right AI tools and they must use them in the correct fashion. And also notify your clients if you are using it. In fact, 2 in 3 accounting firms have guidelines mandating that formal notices must be given to clients about how AI is being used for their work. You must be clear, you must be upfront with that. You must communicate with your clients, ensuring them that you are using AI safely and you are asking for their consent. Be transparent about how this works and assure them about your safety measures. It's far better to be upfront about this. People won't say you're cheating. People won't say that, oh, well, if you're using AI, I can just use AI myself. Because why not? Because you need an expert to verify the output, and the client is not an expert in the output. They're far more likely to be annoyed if you used it without telling them than the fact that you are using it already. So how do you use AI ethically? How do you train AI ethically? Because of course you want the AI, the whole purpose of AI is it grows and develops on your inputs, and it retains that information so it can use it better the next time. Now, I don't mean that in terms of training the language model as a whole, because we don't want to do that, because we don't want to be publishing our information. But in our secure, data-locked AIs, it's still going to train off of previous prompts. And we wanted to do that because that's how we get better and better outputs. But we need to do that in an ethical way. You want to train your AI to give you better outputs, but you want to do this in an ethical way. So a great way of doing that is to anonymize data. When you're putting information in, you just replace everything with client A. You put all the right information in, but you just put client A, and manager X at client A, all these sorts of things like that. That way, there is no way you can identify who it is talking about. Now, all the data in terms of the facts and the figures that are there, so you can provide good analysis that you can then verify and deliver to the client, but you anonymize it before you put it, and you put in the right data, etc., the right names before you actually give it to your clients. You must also ensure that you have the rights to use the data and discuss what data you can use. The more you can use, of course, the more you can train it, but you make sure you have permission to use it. And also check everything against privacy laws before you do it. You don't want to be in a situation where you are breaching privacy laws, because of course that may earn you large fines, as we've already discussed with GDPR. And on that note, GDPR and GDPR compliance, and that is a lawful basis for processing data. So you must have a contract, or you must have a legal obligation or legal permission to use data. Make sure you don't stray outside that original purpose, and make sure that everyone knows what you are doing. Make sure that your clients know what you're doing with their information, because again, you don't want to be breaching GDPR. But remember, it's not just about GDPR, it's not just about privacy laws or anything like that. As accountants, there are professional requirements too. The ICAEW code has recently been updated for technology threats due to AI, as has the ACCA guidelines, which has strict confidentiality mandates. So again, it's all built around this idea of restricting the risk of disclosing confidential information. That's both a professional and a legal requirement. So to summarize best practices, key takeaways here for you implementing artificial intelligence is to use secure AI solutions from well-vetted enterprise-grade tools. Make sure you are only putting in information and data that is necessary to achieve what you are trying to achieve. Make sure you follow all privacy, GDPR laws, rules and regulations, etc. And when in doubt, err on the side of caution. Remember, none of this is worth jeopardizing your client's trust. So always err on the side of caution. If you're not sure about putting this information into AI, then don't. And remember that your organization needs to have a solid policy for AI usage that everyone needs to be implementing across the board.